Fall is pumpkin season, and there's nothing better than a warming, delicious pumpkin soup. Today we're gonna give this classic a Middle Eastern upgrade. We'll start with our pumpkin soup. Thanks to the right ingredients and method, it turns out wonderfully creamy and flavorful. Then we'll make Zaatar crisps. These crispy pita chips with our homemade Zaatar spice blend give the soup a special crunch and round off the flavor perfectly. This pumpkin soup is wonderful for cozy days and for surprising your family or guests with something truly special. Let's get cooking!
If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kitty, and this channel is all about Middle Eastern recipes and culture, with a special focus on my beloved country, Jordan. All you need is a handful of simple ingredients. Hokkaido pumpkin or butternut squash are two popular varieties for soup. Either works well for this recipe. Potatoes for creamy texture, a regular yellow onion, ginger, butter or olive oil to saute onion and ginger, water or vegetable stock for extra flavor. To season, we'll need salt, pepper, turmeric, and optionally some cayenne pepper. For the second component, our Za'atar bread chips, we'll need Lebanese bread or a different type of white bread available to you, Za'atar spice blend, either store-bought or homemade. By the way, I'll tell you more about Za'atar later in this video as well as in the description below. And last but not least, olive oil for brushing. For exact amounts and the printable recipe instructions, check the description below. Ready to get cooking? Let's get started. Let's start by prepping our pumpkin. I'm using a Hokkaido pumpkin here, which doesn't need to be peeled. Give it a good wash as the peel is edible. Cut off the stem, then slice the pumpkin in half. Scoop out the seeds with a spoon. Place it on a cutting board in front of you. Trim off the blossom end and cut the pumpkin into chunks. Be sure to use a sharp chef's knife for this, as the raw pumpkin is quite hard. Next, let's prepare the rest of our vegetables. Peel the potatoes and cut them into chunks as well. The potatoes give the soup more body and creaminess. For even more flavor and a higher vegetable content, you could also add carrots for a subtle sweetness and color, or celery for a savory, hearty flavor. Next, roughly chop the onion. By the way, the onion isn't absolutely necessary, but it does provide a rounded, savory base and extra depth of flavor to the soup. Then peel and finely chop a piece of fresh ginger. You don't need to crush the ginger in a mortar, as it will be blended with the soup later on. Now let's head over to the stove. Heat some butter or olive oil in a large pot over medium heat. Once the butter has melted, add a chopped onion and saute for about 2 to 3 minutes until translucent. Once it smells nice and sweet, add the ginger and turmeric and saute for another 20 to 30 seconds, just enough to bring out the aroma. Add in your pumpkin and potato chunks and saute everything together for a short moment. This will help develop a beautiful aroma. Pour in vegetable stock or water. The liquid should cover the vegetables. I use around 1 liter or 4 US cups of liquids for a 900 gram or 2-pound pumpkin. You can always add more water later if you prefer a more runny consistency. Bring to a boil, cover, and simmer over medium heat for about 20 minutes until pumpkin and potatoes are fork tender. The pumpkin is ready when it's tender and can easily be pierced with a fork. I season my soup with salt and pepper before I blend it. If it's your first time making the soup, you can season it to taste after blending. Blend the soup in the pot with an immersion blender until smooth. Season with salt and pepper to taste. Look how creamy our soup has turned out. For me, this is the perfect consistency for pumpkin soup. If you want it more runny, you can add more water. Optionally, stir in a splash of cream or coconut milk for extra creaminess and flavor. Now let's prepare the second component of this recipe, our Za'atar bread chips. I'll be using Lebanese flatbread for this. but you could use pita, American toast, or any type of white bread. If you're using Lebanese bread, note that it consists of 2 layers that can be separated, similar to pita bread. The inside is softer and more absorbent, so it holds the oil-herb mixture better, which is why I like to open it up. This works best when the bread is fresh. If it's not, warm it in a microwave for about 10 seconds to soften it enough to tear it open. For the bread chips, cut the flatbread into bite-sized cubes, about 2 centimeters or 3/4 of an inch in size. Place in a bowl, add olive oil and za'atar and mix well with your hands. Be sure the bread is evenly coated with a thin layer of oil and herbs. Let me tell you a few words about Zaatar. Za'atar is a spice blend from the Levant that is often used as a topping for dips, salads, meat, and vegetables, or simply enjoyed with bread and olive oil. The exact recipe varies from region to region and family to family, but the core ingredients are dried thyme, sumac, and toasted sesame seeds. It tastes earthy, slightly nutty, and citrusy fresh, which pairs wonderfully with this pumpkin soup. You can find a ready-made blend in any Middle Eastern grocery store, but it's also very easy to make yourself. I've linked my Za'atar recipe for you in the description below. Heat a flat skillet of a medium heat, no extra oil needed. Add the bread pieces and toss them very briefly, for about 30 to 60 seconds on each side until golden brown and crispy. If you use a thicker type of bread, you need to toss them a little longer to get the desired crispiness. Remove from the pan and let go slightly to crisp up. The bread chips can be prepped while the soup cooks, as they take less than 5 minutes to put together. To serve, pour the soup into bowls. Sprinkle the Za'atar crisp on top of the warm soup. If you didn't add cream or coconut milk, you could drizzle some fresh orange or lemon for a slightly citrusy flavor. If you like it fancy, garnish with some finely chopped coriander or parsley. And that's it. Your pumpkin soup is ready. Sahtin, enjoy!